I've asked you in today for a little financial advice.
Fine. Buy high, sell low.
Yeah. We get it. We understand the animosity towards the people providing clones, the ones that make them and the ones that sell them. How very dare they? It takes away from the experience of owning the real thing. I get that. I can count myself as one of those that's wealthy enough to get one, and I did try to get a real one. As mentioned in my previous video, the experience was absolutely shit. Treated with complete disrespect, if not outright contempt. I don't suppose it was actually deliberately formulated that way. It's just, I don't know, the mindset has just developed over time, and now they want you to feel like they're doing you a favour to sell you one of their watches. I've coined a term for it anyway, the democratization of pretentiousness. So everybody gets a chance to be pretentious with their designer watch on their wrist, courtesy of our Chinese cousins, God bless them. The whole thing about, and I've written some little notes here, there's just a list of words. So I figure that the people that complain to YouTube and get these channels shut down where people are promoting their agency for selling the clones, dealing with them and passing them on and funneling them out to us folk in the West, I guess there's some legal ramifications for YouTube if they didn't shut them down. Maybe Rolex, as one of the brands for example, would be able to sue them for it, but I'm guessing that YouTube wouldn't even know until it's reported to them, and obviously the people that are reporting them are aggrieved that their ownership experience isn't quite as hoity-toity as it could be, because yeah, we all know now, doesn't matter what you look like, unless you're climbing out of an actual Ferrari, anybody spots somebody with a Rolex on their wrist is going to assume it's a fake. That's human nature. Oh, look at that Billy Big Balls over there, flashing his wrist around, making sure everybody gets to see his Rolex. Yeah, it's a fake. There is a measure of resentment in that, I guess. But you don't know. You genuinely don't know. I've even read comments of people saying that they buy the real one and then they leave it in the safe at home and wear a fake. What? Oh, I'm frightened of getting robbed. They're still going to rob the person, but they're like, okay, I don't mind handing over a $500 fake as opposed to an £11,000 genuine one. I kind of get that, but then what's the point of owning the real one if you're just going to leave it in a safe all the time and never wear it? Defeats the purpose of the exercise, unless the exercise is pure pretentiousness. It's a status flexing thing. Look at how special and successful and refined I am with my Rolex on my wrist. Anyway, I massively digress. This is kind of a philosophy of the whole cloning thing. There's a whole bunch of synonyms for this. So fake is an obvious, because that's what they are, they're fakes. Counterfeit, I've kind of looked up the definition for that, and there's an awful lot of words that have got an actual definition, but then there's a common usage thing which exists where it's not clearly the definition, kind of changes the meaning a little bit. Counterfeit is where it's trying to be passed off as something genuine for financial reasons, so somebody can commit fraud with it. The Chinese aren't doing that. They're not trying to fool people into thinking that they're real for the value. They're not selling them at market price of a real one. They're selling them to people to, yes, to deceive others into thinking they're wearing a genuine Rolex, but there's no pecuniary motive behind it other than selling them for what their value actually is. A very good quality watch is what Rolex used to be priced at back in the day when they were a proper tool watch. As I said before in the previous video, the value price ratio is just completely out of whack. Replica, clone, that's what they are. They're a replica or a copy, a facsimile. They're not a scam. That's another thing that people come up with. It's oh, it's all a scam. It's not a scam. They're making a genuine product and they're selling it for a very, very, very fair price when you consider the quality of the manufacture, the components, the effort of putting them together. I mean, we know that the labour wages in China are so they can afford to do it at the price they do it at. But you are getting a hell of a quality watch for that kind of money. Seriously good value for money. So they're providing a genuine product. There's no scam involved in that at all, unless you want to say that they're scamming Rolex. They're not scamming Rolex. Who buys these clones? It ain't wealthy people, unless they're buying it so they can wear it instead of wearing the real one, which they keep in a safe. But otherwise, the majority of the people that are buying the clones are people that wouldn't be able to buy a Rolex in the first place. So Rolex are not being cheated out of any money. It's simple fact, statement of facts, irrefutable. So no, the manufacturers are not scamming anyone. Where you get the scam is from the people that get in the middle. So if you can't get one directly from the factory, which most people can't, there has to be a middleman. Somebody buys them from the factory and then sells them on for a profit. That's where you get the scam. But that happens with anything. People will even try and sell them as the real thing. But the scammers generally will have them and either not pass them on once they've received their order, or they'll overtalk them and they'll be selling cheaper copies and saying that they're super clones. You know, there's a myriad of ways that these middlemen can scam people. Sometimes they'll send it on just to get a little bit of word of mouth out there. Probably just as often they just take the money and they don't send the product. So there is no intention to scam with these things. The only reason people get the hump about them is the wealthy folk who don't like having their ownership experience diluted. They don't like it the way it is now, that when they see me wearing their Rolex or whatever brand, that people just go, yeah, it's probably a fake. Pisses them off. Tough shit, suck it up. Do you think the world's made for you exclusively? And it's a done deal already. It's never going to go back from that. It's always going to be now that someone sees you wearing your genuine Rolex, it's going to think, yeah, it's probably a fake. It's done. So this whole grassing up the people that have the channels, and yeah, okay, that's a double-edged sword, because some of those channels are scammers, but they're also genuine guys. And my replica, my clone, is on the way from one of the agents. I did a lot of research. That's how I tracked him down. An awful lot of reading, hours and hours and hours. I'm fascinated by the subject, so I put hours into it. Malachi. When I actually get the watch, I'm going to post a video about it, so I'm not going to go into great detail here about my purchase experience. But just to say that this one particular individual, I'm sure there's a couple of others that are as good, maybe, that are as honest, but this one particular individual is giving the Rolex experience for the clone, and I'm not exaggerating it. The things that happen from point of purchase to actual receipt of the item, I mean, it's right up there. The guy's passionate. Malachi, that name, if you search it, might get you to the point where you can communicate with him, but it's going to be in the next video. It might get my channel shut down, I don't know, but I'm not a person, I'm not selling them, I'm an individual buying them. And the reason I'm going to make the second video, the next video, is to help people avoid being scammed. Simple as that. If you are wanting to buy one of these clones, it's like a minefield out there. You see all the spam bots when people post about Rolexes, any subject, restoring them, buying them, comparing them with fakes. You get a whole rake of spam bots in the comments. Some of the names are unpronounceable, but those are all the scam sites trying to rip people off. So my video will be intended as a purchaser to try and steer people in the right direction so they don't have a horrible experience and be taken for a bunch of money. I mean, it's not a massive amount of money, but who wants to lose $500 and something? Nobody. So that'll be the motive for it, in general. So I think mine's going to be arriving, I mean, it's Wednesday now. Might have it before the weekend, it's possible. It's only coming over the water. So yeah, next video will be me flashing my shiny bauble and explaining in some detail who to go to for it, and look forward to a most excellent experience. I mean, I can't sing this guy's praises high enough. It's been phenomenal, maybe a bit strong a word. I don't want to be over exuberant, but a really, really, really positive, pleasant, nice, interesting experience. The exact experience that you should get from a Rolex AD, but you don't. you get a fucking McDonald's ticket and told to fuck off until they're ready to call you back so they can tell you they haven't got any in stock. Unless you're favoured in some way and, oh, look what we found, sir. Yes, you can have the one you'd like because you're special. You've passed our test. Or whatever bollocks is going on. Anyway, having said all that, I hope you enjoyed, I hope you were entertained, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!